In April 2025, Tekken 8 launched the Season 2 update, which some have called the worst patch in fighting game history. If you're not familiar with what happened, we basically had a really aggressive Season 1, they promised a bunch of defensive counterplay going into Season 2, and then when Season 2 launched, it was a bunch of doubling down on the aggressive gameplay that was frustrating a lot of people. It's done a lot of damage to the Tekken community, but also, it's done a lot of damage to Tekken's reputation. A bunch of streamers I had coached during Season 1, who were kind of tourists coming through, really enjoyed playing Tekken. But they're afraid to come back because of the negativity and because of the idea that they might have to fight more of the things that frustrated them in Season 1. Now, we've had a few updates since then. We had an emergency patch in April, a May patch, a June patch, and an upcoming July patch. All of these are expected to push the game in a better direction, but the patches have been kind of slow and minimal. It's been hard to tell if they really are going to make the game better. So, I was pretty surprised when my coach and friend Speedkicks tweeted this. "I'm having fun with Tekken 8 again," he said. So, I decided to schedule a call with him. I wanted to pick his brain about what he's enjoying about the game, because I think we're surrounded by so much noise, it can be hard to tell, and the game can still be frustrating in a lot of ways. So we talk about when is the game fun? When is the game still unfun? We also talk about how to de-rust if you decide that you want to come back to Tekken and have a good time kind of getting back into one of the most frustrating games out there. It's a fun conversation, but let me know what you think in the comments. Enjoy the video.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hello.
Okay. All right. I'm getting farmed for content again. Let's see what's up.
It's been a few months, you know.
Yeah. Nice little break. back to the mill with me.
Yeah. Anyway, you had a really motivational, positive tweet the other day. Probably put some smiles on a few people's faces. Let me pull it up. It was for my chatters and viewers who are not on Twitter, it was, "I'm having fun with Tekken 8 again." I accidentally stopped at the tweet at Fear. We can talk about that one too, but if you know, people are accusing you of being too harsh, but you say you didn't start it, we'll give you a platform to defend yourself, you know.
Yeah. I didn't start that one. That was provoked.
All right. I'm having fun with Tekken 8 again. I figured a structured way to talk about this is, I guess prior to this tweet, what were you not enjoying about Tekken 8? Because everybody has different opinions about what Season 2 was on, but from your perspective, I guess, what was less fun for you?
So in Tekken 8 Season 1, right? We were all kind of right. So in Tekken 8 Season 1, they did this weird thing where they introduced a bunch of new stuff that was not super well thought out, right? Like the heat system, like the different moves they gave characters, like random strings getting like heart, like can 50/50s and stuff like that. But they also did they removed a lot of stuff that made like Tekken 7 worse, right? Like the bad sidestep in that game, the counter hit like the counter hit magic fours all over the place, the counter hit, more than just counter hit fours, counter hit everything, just random things, counter hit knocking down, counter hit launching, right? Tekken 7 was usually in a fighting game, you want a game where obviously the person who is proactive and takes the lead is more favored, right? But like you should have a lot of ways to defend yourself against that, right? So offense should be hard, but when well executed, it should be more rewarding, better risk reward, right?
Mm-hmm. And
in Tekken 7, it was the opposite, where if the other guy felt like he had an attack into you, you were actually up. That was fire for you. You know what I mean? Like being the defender wasn't a bad risk reward. It was the opposite. So in Tekken 8, they fixed that. They made the game a lot more fun in a lot of different ways. You're playing Tekken again, right? You're playing Tekken where you have to be proactive, control your neutral, control the space, all that stuff, and then there's this heat stuff going on, right?
Right.
And we were all under the impression, okay, after a year, right? Cool, they're gonna tone down the bullshit, right? They took all these steps forward. They took a couple steps questionable, but it's a new game. It's a new system. They're gonna use their time to fix the system. Season 2 comes out. They don't actually fix that stuff. They make it worse. So Tekken 8 Season 2, probably the worst I genuinely think it's like one of the worst patches in fighting game history. I can't think of another. Like I know about the Dragon Ball Fighters patch. I know about the Guilty Gear Strive patch. I think the Tekken 8 Season 2 patch is worse.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst to ever do it. To be honest, the Japanese company like apologize for it. Like that's how bad it was. It was really fucking awful.
Yeah. Generational fumble.
Yeah. So that happens, and they basically quadrupled down on the worst parts of the game to the point where it like overtook the good changes. Right. Now, even though you have to you have to be active and control the space in front of you and like not let stuff happen. You're doing it with like the most brain dead like button like in history, right? So like all of the worst designs from season 1, every character became like that. They really screwed the pooch in the game, right? So everything, literally every aspect of the game became brain dead,
Yeah.
And so there was no fun. There was just no fun to be had in the game.
Right. Even if you're winning, you're doing things that require very little thought or like manipulation of the opponent. It's like I gotta put him in the mix and I gotta be right.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of doing that little like the Tekken neutral game before like as a Hwoarang player, right? Instead of like doing the Tekken neutral game beforehand, forward dash, like jab timing, down forward 2 timing, all that stuff. Instead of doing that stuff and like reading my opponent's movement, it was just down 3+4. Right?
Yeah.
Make them think you're playing Tekken. They jab you, then you down 3+4, and it's counter hit +30 on hit. Right? +30 in the stance makes it like, okay, cool, bro. I guess I earned this. But it was just too brain dead.
Right.
So biggest change in season 2, I think. Rank even tweeted about it before. He said like 200 HP is like a new season, basically. He said it's like season 3 now.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the 200 HP change is actually way more impactful than like we initially assumed. Even the people who assumed it would be impactful, right? Like we knew from previous seconds that adding more health would change the game. But this specific Tekken has a lot of things that depend on health, right? So rage and heat and chip are all health dependent.
Right.
Okay. And what I mean by that is chip damage is recoverable, right? So you think about a situation where the other guy has a bunch of gray health, and you're like you're in your mind, but he's low on health, he's low on HP, right? You're in your mind, okay, if I get one more hit on this guy to close this round out fast, I win. But if I let him play, then he gets to recover more HP, right?
Right.
I have to kill him in order to eliminate the gray health.
Right.
If they have 200 HP, that's more time, more interactions where that gray health matters.
Right.
Right. So there's more interactions to recover gray health, which means chip is nerfed. Right.
Yes. Yeah. In addition to direct chip nerfs.
Yeah. In addition to direct chip nerfs, right? In addition to me having my rage longer, which means there's less chip, right? Because they buff the like the length of your rage, right? Like the amount of health you require to have rage to keep at the same percentage, even though they buff the health.
Right.
So there's more interactions where you have rage and your defense defending you against chip, right? And then the other part of this is heat is a timer based thing, right? You burn. So think about early, like season 1 Tekken 8, getting that early heat engage. You would just like beat the hell out of your opponent, and then they would get low on HP. Then you'd kill them right as your heat is running out. You heat dash, get the extra chip on them, and then it's over, right?
Yeah.
This game, or in this version of the game, when you when you activate your heat too early, and they have plus 200, they have 200 HP, right? There's this moment where you're out of heat, and the other guy has more health. There's more Tekken to be played without heat matter, right? And along with that, some amount of the damage you did in heat recoverable. The other guy might have rage, right? Mm-hmm. So now the other guy is sitting on this recoverable health while he can play without you having heat, right? And it's the same on both sides, right? So there's more moments of Tekken where you're playing without heat. There's more moments of Tekken where the chip damage like is recoverable, right?
Right.
There's more moments of Tekken where you're playing where you take less chip damage because you have the rage like defending your health bar.
Right.
And then you have the classical changes that happen with health increase, which means like we can block more generally because we can take more lows, right?
Right.
So those lows they push you toward the lose condition less, right? So you can play defensive situations a bit more stubbornly, a bit more. You can move and block a little bit more comfortably with the understanding that these lows are doing a little bit less damage to you, right?
Right.
All in all, let's put it simply, blocking is improved.
Right.
That's it. That's why it's fun. You can block more. You can block better. You can move. You can play more. Tekken is more. The game encourages you to play on both ends a little bit more now, right? It's still the same idea that every Tekken game has, where the player whose offense best overcomes the other guy's defense wins, right?
Right.
Whoever scores the most points on offense wins the game, right? But instead of just get it on offense, smother the other guy until the game is over, right? There is more chances to block, and so because all of this stuff, encourages blocking on one side, it's going to encourage blocking on the other because you're adding all this risk into attacking and giving your opponent the chance to make a counterplay if you keep attacking someone who's blocking over and over, and there's the normal Tekken mind games that come with that. So in general, the game feels more Tekken, even though the character designs are broken from the patch. So a lot of the remaining character designs are broken from the initial season 2 patch, right?
Right.
But the changes to the game that happened after the season 2 patch makes the Tekken 8 season 2 version we're playing right now feel more like Tekken, even with the broken character designs,
right,
than Tekken 8 season 1 did without the broken character designs.
And I guess the first thing that came to mind is that we talked about how in the launch of season 2, Hwoarang became pretend you're playing Tekken, then do the down 3+4. But the reduce in the consequences of eating that low, the increase, not just in the HP, I think from 180 to 200, but also the fact that when you're in heat, all the damage you take is gray, even the standing damage. It sounds like the running the casino, like the hypothetical situation of somebody just going into heat and running the casino, you could block and survive, and suddenly they're in a way worse position, right? Where their heat has run out, you have more HP, and they have to now fight against a super character without their own super abilities.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. Right? So that happens like quite a bit in the games I've been playing recently. So I noticed that as like something like, okay, cool. If someone tries to go brain dead with this stuff,
right,
these are the consequences. There are some characters that circumvent it, right? Like Law, right? Like Law can early activate heat and then do a combo and have full heat bar.
Yeah, right? That
it's a bit ridiculous. There's characters like insult characters, right? Like Brian, right? Even though his heat is gone, he still has his super moves. So that or in on the opposite, he doesn't always initially have to activate that heat on the first combo because the first combo gives him his super moves. Right. So install characters, heat refill characters, some characters that just beat your ass too hard even before their heat runs out, like Lydia, right?
Right.
Like Lydia gets in the heat, she doesn't care how much HP you have. She can a couple guesses. You can die before the heat's out, or you can be near death before the heat's out. And then she also has a combo that kills the gray health.
Right.
So that is also insane, right? So that's what I mean about the character designs. There, some of the character designs need to be toned down, but I think
along those lines. Go ahead.
What is it? I was gonna say my current opinion is just that like the game is the system is better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and on top of that, being able to actually sidestep stuff that isn't homing, I think it feels really good. Like, I'm reminded much more of when we revisited like DR or like Tekken Tag 2. It's not just more lenient, but it's actively changing the way like people attack each other. I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Being able to buffer those side steps is pretty huge because you get more consistent. You get the side steps more consistently, which is just important. I think. When sidestepping was better, it probably was less necessary. But because we're in this current situation where we're playing these modern Tekkens,
right?
I think that buffer on the sidestep is good. And also, I've come around to liking the sidestep from crouch. I think it's healthy.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think I feel like we still are not probably seeing people use it to the maximum potential. I feel that way for I guess a lot of the new system changes, even like full crouch from heat or whatever. Like the pros are going crazy with their characters, but I feel like we still have a lot to develop and see, which is exciting. Talking about toxic character designs, people talked a lot about Atif's win, saying he was mad carried by Ana. Now I know that you have also played Ana.
And mad carried by Ana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not to start the debate about carried, but I guess we talked about toxic character designs, people characters who beat your ass too hard, and there are a lot of Twitter clips going around of Ana doing attack into stance into nothing, attack into stance into nothing, attack into stance into mix.
Right.
Do you feel that I guess what is the urgency of stuff like that being fixed with how the system changes are better, right? Is it something that is kind of systemic? Is it something that individual characters are, I mean, now that I asked the question, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, that individual characters are committing worse than way other characters? Like, I guess, what is your take on like which characters probably seem the most urgent to address?
I think listen, the thing about a fighting game, right? I want to say get that Ana stuff out of here, right? Fighting games need to have toxic characters, right? Like that's kind of like how they're designed. Ana's always been a kind of a toxic
that's been Ana's thing.
Yeah. I think balance wise, the toxic characters should not be the best characters in the game, right? I think a lot of people feel like Ana is potentially top 5 right now, right? Same with like Lydia, right? She's super strong. I think I've also said this about Hwoarang, like in past seasons when I thought he was too strong. I don't think certain character designs should be super strong. The kind of the strength of it is that you're playing an alternate style, right? You're forcing people to play something that they probably didn't sign up for,
right?
Right? they didn't sign up to, people didn't pick like their Tekken characters so that they have to not do their mates because Xiao Yu might go under them, right? So that's why Xiao Yu was historically kept bad, right? I think. We look at those characters that are committing these crimes, and I think I don't know if we need to destroy their design, right? If people like that type of gameplay, like there's a character for them. That's why they make multiple characters. But I think they shouldn't be the best. I think so. A balance patch addressing the strength of certain characters is fine.
It's funny you say that.
Has to go like Ana counter hit jab.
Oh goodness!
Jab, I feel like I'm playing Hwoarang like without heat, like in heat. I feel like I'm always Hwoarang in heat when I play Ana.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
So a lot of design, and I think I agree with the design idea, like that some designs have to exist. Like I think if Josie didn't exist in Tekken 7, or like if Muay Thai characters didn't exist, there'd be people like me running around who just don't interact over and over. Like you need a character that kind of, having characters that push people out of their comfort zones, I think is what gives fighting games like the spice, like gives it the soul. So I agree with that as much as I hate it.
Right. I just don't think those alternate styles should be so strong that they make the player with the most skills in the game play the stance character, right? Like we have a Tiff who is a timing and fundamentals god, and then he's doing attack in a stance and attack in a stance, and he's just guessing right in the mix. It's like that doesn't feel good to watch as someone who knows what he could be doing on a different character. Right.
No, I remember being mind blown, I think, when he fought Nee in one of the locals before the TWT finals, and he picked Jack and won. And I'm like, dude, this guy can really do it. Like,
yeah, he can do it on a lot of characters.
I think it's probably more interesting from a spectator standpoint how, as much as I want to empathize with the pros and be like, they're being put in situations where they have to really fight for their literal livings on a game that's evolving so quickly. But I've been surprised to see a lot of, I guess, like casual reception being like, oh, it's cool watching these pros pick up new characters. We're seeing different characters that are doing these different things. That's exciting. I think it's a testament to how crazy Atif is to have been able to pick up a character that is so, I guess, I don't know, I don't want to say different from his normal style, but it's like we're seeing him play so high speed and so efficient on Ana. I think that's really weird.
Yeah.
But
That's a character. The way he's playing the character is like a specialist who's been playing her for a while, but she's like, oh, it's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
And so that's an insane talent.
I think you talked about it as like that's what late stage Ana probably looks like, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I said. He's making people fight late stage Ana with like month 2 defense, which is like we normally, you get to people say the character comes out, people are doing like, day 1, then week 1, then month 1 strategies, and you develop your defense along as the character develops, the people who are playing the character develops. But he's like making people deal with the whole character right now,
yeah.
which is very difficult.
Yeah, fighting a dude from the future.
Sides.
Like,
yeah, it's like he came back from like 2027 and he just picked Ana.
Okay, so overall, the system changes, especially the HP increase and the fact that bulldozing your opponent with the casino gameplay is no longer a like semi-consistent strategy to demolishing somebody. Sounds like there's been more Tekken to play. Character designs are still really toxic, each in different ways, right? I think that's the fascinating part, is that you pointed out different like ways that these characters are committing crimes, whether it's infinite heat regen, install moves giving the super moves outside of heat, or some people just still having the monstrous heat states. I think that this type of toxic character design is probably going to still be overwhelming to like a new or intermediate player, like people who don't have like deep Tekken knowledge or like are still learning a lot of the matchups or seeing a lot of the matchups for the first time. But with that in mind, do you have a regimen or approach or structure to people who are coming back to the game? Maybe it's different for different levels of play, right? Like maybe it's easier to start with it, like if you take a long break from Tekken and you come back to the game, what is your like process for de-rusting? Is it literally just hopping on and playing? Do you do a particular style of labbing more? Do you fight particular opponents more? Like how do you approach that?
I just hop on and get beat up. I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is that the first thing I notice that's always the most rusty is my movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even in the video you have on stream, right? There's instances of me getting hit out of my side steps, out of my backdashes a lot, and that damage like adds up so much that I spend a lot of time like hyper focusing on being able to move and not get clipped. And then after that, it's just whatever. You have to play, and you have to like keep up with what your opponents are doing, right? So in mechanic, you want to like warm up the unconscious mechanics. You know what I mean? The things that you should be able to do without thinking about. They're going to require you to think about them for a little bit to get back up to speed. So for me, like I have to worry about the movement thing. Somebody else, they might have to worry about like their throw breaks and their punishing,
right?
Because that's what that might deteriorate for them. Luckily, I've played the game so much that stuff is like riding a bike. I like literally can't like mess it up. So something I probably actually do have to warm up is my combos, but I get so bored.
Yeah,
I can't combo right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's the relatable part. Is a lot of people will come back to the game after watching Need do something sick or watch Atif steamroll somebody, and it's like, oh man, but I gotta do some of the work. So that's relatable, I guess. That the combos are the tough part for you. That's the tough part for me too. Is I'll be like, what's the new combo? Do I care enough? Drop a few combos? Yeah, I guess I care.
Yeah, exactly, right? You got to determine how much you really care about de-resting. If you're trying to go hard, you're like, okay, cool. Blocking and Tekken is good again. I want to get good. I'm gonna go get top 8 TNS. You gotta like sit down and warm all that stuff up.
Yeah. I should have asked this question earlier. I remember it was probably a couple months ago at this point, but you had actually de-rested and you were like, oh, I haven't played in forever. This is a specific thing that I need to think about. I guess the movement was the big one that you mentioned. A lot of people probably get mad tilted losing to these mechanical things. I know the answer is probably simple, but do you have advice you give, whether it's in, I guess, not to leak your coaching strategies, but is there a type of advice you give to people who get tilted when, oh, I'm de-rusting, I'm in that process? Is it different per person? Like, how do you usually approach that?
I mean, it's different per person, but I think it all stems from ego, right? Like, you don't enjoy getting beat up for the thing you haven't practiced. Right? I think if that tilts you, then it's probably like an ego thing. If it bores you, that's something different, right? So if it's like, but that's usually not for someone who's super sweaty, right? That's like someone like a casual player, like, damn, why do I have to practice this skill again? I just want to play.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to de-rust it, and you're one of those people that's like, you got to put your name and then in parentheses like de-rusting in your Steam profile. If you're one of those guys, it's usually like some kind of ego thing going on, and it's
stick practice.
yeah, practicing P2. One of those guys. You gotta just accept it, bro. Like, come on, you shouldn't expect yourself to be good when you haven't been playing. So like, like lock in. So I think the less you think about how you would have done before, the more you can focus on actually practicing your skills right now. A lot of people get too caught up, I believe, focusing on things outside of the game. So that's what I mean when I say it's like per person.
Yeah.
You address whatever this specific individual has that's distracting them from the goal at hand. And the goal at hand is to play the game with the skills.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you hear that, you guys? It's individualized. So if you want your individualized training, you know who to hit up, right? Like,
oh
yeah. I forgot to ask a question about the system that when we were back there, the combo length. I've been very noisy about that, but everybody's heard me talk about it enough. What are your takes on not just, I guess, the combo length itself, but like combo damage, and then we can talk about like potential solutions, I guess, once we.
The combo length is, bro. I was fighting CBM. You got it on stream. Okay, he's got like these like 20-second long gen combos that like it does normal wall carry damage. It's not like it's insane amounts of damage he's doing.
Yeah,
it's like your normal 110 like mid screen to wall carry to like resource dump combo, but it takes like 50 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of very fast gameplay, right? So as a person who likes to be locked in making decisions quickly, being locked out of decision making for like 20 seconds is not fun.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of the current combo length. And it feels like that for a lot of characters. I don't know why they added heat burst from stances. Because like it was fine before that. Like, no one, and I don't think anyone was doing a combo got into a stance and thought, yo, I wish I could heat burst here. I don't think that was the case. But for some reason we can do that now, and it just makes everything go so long. The strong aerial tailspin into heat burst, into strong aerial tailspin, into stance cancel, into attack, into strong aerial tailspin wall carry, into your high wall splat combo, into the full unscaled finisher. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, my complaints have been similar, like straight up length, but also it feels like there's, outside of a very few rare cases, it feels like the combo structures are all doing the same thing. It's like, I'm going to get my B&B damage. I'm going to get my maximum wall carry. Ideally, I want them farther from the wall so I can hit them more, so I can get more damage, right? It feels like there's not a lot of decision making. Well, as the defender, obviously, because I'm in the air. But even as the attacker, it's like there's probably one or two variations I can pick versus looking at any older Tekken where like people might pick drastically different things depending on their positioning and the matchup and the health bars and things like that. So,
right. Yeah, it's like Legos.
Yeah,
it feels like Legos.
You could put the yellow piece here if you want, but
it's like, just pick one, bro.
People have said why not just increase the timer? But to me, that doesn't address the issue of just the lack of agency. I remember coaching Lily Pichu, and it would change her gameplay. What was like, because she didn't want to sit in the air for 15 seconds if she was wrong, you know? And that was season 1. So I wonder how people would react to shorter combos. People have also said things like anime games have longer combos, and I don't play anime games, so I have no rebuttal to that. But what is your take on that, about other games having longer combos, so Tekken should too?
Anime games having longer combos. I think maybe if they're talking about like fighters, I don't know. Like Dragon Ball fighters, I mean.
Yeah.
I think combo length is down in a lot of modern fighting games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Tekken seems to be the main one that's going for like the longer combos. That was like a primary complaint about Guilty Gear Strive. I remember that, right?
Was combo length.
A primary complaint about modern Arxis games in general is the combos aren't as long and cool. Right? There's less like, you know, skill expression in the combo, and that's one other thing, right? There were more like interesting decisions to make during the combo. There were like a bunch of positions where you could get resets, a bunch of positions where like you had to adjust for this specific like combo route. There was the combo systems were in those games were a bit more in depth, and that's kind of why people accepted like the longer combos.
I
right?
see. And in some cases the defender having like combo breakers, right?
Yeah. Some of those games, like the burst in Guilty Gear, and the burst baiting was a thing. So in Tekken, it's dead ass. One person gets the launcher, then he does like this thing he watched in a YouTube video.
Yeah.
For like 20 seconds, and if he doesn't mess it up, then you gotta wait 20 seconds.
I remember going back to when we went back to DR and the combos were so short. The coolest thing to me was just I felt like I got more reps to figure out what I was doing wrong in neutral. And I feel like it's genuinely harder to learn that stuff because of how much time your brain has to wait until we're playing the game again.
Yeah.
I feel like it actually makes learning so much harder.
I think Tekken is more fun when the combos are like launch, bop, 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 bow, and then you're on, and then we play the game again. You know?
Yeah.
That is really fun.
Yeah.
That, because I got launched. Get your damage.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I don't even care if the combos did more damage. They could buff combo damage and nerf combo length.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just let me play.
I just want to play the video. I just want to play the video game. I think that is a problem, and I think like I don't know exactly what the solution could be. They intentionally added longer combo routes in this game,
right?
In the season 2 patch. Again, I think it was just the result of very, very tone deaf decision making.
Yeah,
where they added the exact things we were hoping they would like tone down, right?
Yeah. That's how I feel too about people saying let's increase the timer. I'm like, that doesn't really make me feel better about, you know, putting my controller down, getting a snack. For
increasing the timer.
Yeah, people have said, well, if people are timing out more because the combos are longer, why don't we increase the timer?
Yo, that's like a fundamental misunderstanding of the issue, I think.
Yeah, I think so
people
too.
The problem here isn't that the round is decided by time over. I think people are okay with the round being decided by time over.
Right.
In fact, time overs can be hype. Time overs are generally more hype than KOs.
Yeah.
In Tekken, anyway.
When it's not being burned by the the preset cutscene initiator.
Yeah, exactly. It's the combo doing it. That's the problem. It's the fact that there was no gameplay happening when the timeout happened.
Yeah. I will say that for maybe the first week, it was interesting watching the pros be like, oh, we'll do this route into this thing to timer scam. And it was like, ooh, okay, neat. But experiencing it, playing, 4 to 8 hours a day, that's something else. Timer increase is not it. Yeah, my proposed solutions were honestly spitballing, but I was so desperate to get any solution out there. But I started getting mad the more I thought about it, but I guess this is a good time to air it. I was thinking about stuff like strong aerial tailspin or heat burst in a combo, giving like absurd amounts of increased scaling, right? Like the idea that like, okay, if you do it, you are intentionally like hanging your combo damage. so that
Right.
unless you specifically want the wall from an egregious distance, it's probably in your interest to do a shorter B&B that will just get you your damage.
Right.
Unfortunately, I looked at a lot of combo routes after the fact and saw that some people are just doing their heat burst like near the end, or their tailspin near the end. So
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah,
like
it
it's
wouldn't
just
change
we're built to be in a long combo from the ground up.
Yeah, and on top of that, bro, Hwoarang was doing strong aerial tailspin heat burst combos, I think, in season 1, and I was like, this stuff feels too long.
Yeah.
And that's my character.
Yeah.
And I'm mad because I want to play the game too.
Yeah.
I'm the one doing the combo. I'm upset. I'm bored. I want to play. I don't think that will work. Also, a lot of people had normal combo moves get turned into strong aerial tailspins.
Right.
Right. Like stuff that they were already doing, like Reina's while sending 3-2, right?
Right.
Or while sending 3-4. I mean, you would already see that as like a wall carry, and that would just be weird to like make it a strong aerial tailspin that nerfs the damage. No. I think a lot of changes. I think they should revert a lot of the changes. Okay?
Yeah.
Now stay with me here, right? Also, I just noticed you're playing the first half of the CBM server. I was getting fucked up.
Oh, you want to play the
yeah.
we can play the second half.
It's
Cool.
It's fine. My ego can take it. I did get fucked up early on, bro. I'm fighting the professional. I had to readjust to the game and shit. You know what I mean?
During the D-Rest process.
It's cool. Like I said, remember what I said about ego, right? You shouldn't expect to do well when you ain't been playing. It's fine. Don't. You gotta hold those. It's fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a lot of the changes in this game. Then after the season 2 patch, right? Some of the best ones in the patches that came after season 2 were just straight reverts of what they did in the patch. The Leo sidestep 1-4 change, or back 1-4 change, right? Being able to sidestep that again. Amazing change. Changed the whole matchup for the better. Okay. Paul Deathfist getting reverted. Fantastic change. I don't know why. Don't know who thought that should have been -8, like was this 8 or -6 on block? It shouldn't be safe in heat.
Yeah.
Right. I punished Deathfist today. I heat Deathfist today. I felt good. So all I'm saying is, logically speaking, if people got moved around, lost their roles in the Tekken team because these changes were so bad, hypothetically, doing the exact opposite of the change would be a good thing.
Hypothetically,
right? Hypothetically, if you're getting fired for doing something, the guy who does the opposite should get like promoted or something.
Right.
Okay. So if anybody working at Namco, like, here's this, like, if you want a quick raise, just recommend, go through the season 2 patch, like, change list, right? Look at a bunch of the character specific changes, okay? And then like do the opposite of that and like pitch it to your boss, and like, I swear to God, promotion immediately. You know what I mean? Like, better sales, like, better reviews, 5-star game.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Secret strats. Okay.
Yeah. You asked like what would be the solution for the combos? Undo the changes to the moves. That's the solution. Give us the combos we were doing before. That was fine. Nobody asked for better combos.
Bandai Namco Discord tag. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that covers a lot of what I wanted to talk about. I think a nice wrap up is like reflecting on how you talked about blocking getting better. I think that reflects a lot of why I was getting so frustrated when I was actually starting to play season 2, which was a lot more after the 200 HP. And I remember feeling like, based on the way I read the patches, that I felt forced to use the new stuff. I was supposed to use Steve up back 2 into the guard break, Right. I'm supposed to spam the Lily running move. But after watching Nii succeed so much, especially Evo Japan, and because I'm playing counter hit characters, it feels like just running up, blocking, and using the HP and the gray health to your advantage is kind of the new way of doing things. And I think that's a cool little refreshing take.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's blocking is good in a way that makes it more like Tekken, but not in a way that makes it just so we're playing straight Tekken 7, you know?
Right.
Like there are people who initially said, yeah, like we're playing Tekken 7 when the HP change happens, right? But it's still offensive favored, right? So the person who finds more times to successfully go for a poke, go for something, right? That damage starts to add up in their favor.
Right.
But defense is good again, right? Like you can block again.
Yeah.
So it's okay to block, show a consistent, consistent defensive decision making, and then make a read on the other guy's defense, get some damage in, chill again. You know, attack when it's smart.
Right.
That's all we wanted.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some characters are attacking you with like heaven and earth stance. So you know, literally called heaven and earth. You know,
or armor break. Yeah. I'm hoping the system changes can survive Hwoarang. I really need that 200 HP in gray to do a lot of heavy lifting and hopefully the movement. Cause I got a little spooked, but you know,
yeah.
Why worry about tomorrow? That's later. Yeah. So hopefully, if people are revisiting Tekken 8, they'll be gentle to themselves. They'll check their egos and I guess block a little more. Although you still have to you have to know it's not as like you were talking about. It's not Tekken 7. You can't just really backdash and ignore everything. But
yeah,
it is cool that you can let them swing a little more and find your spots.
You don't have to feel as rushed in what you're doing in order to win.
Yeah,
but at some point you do have to do something. So you know, like don't get full passive, but you can use defense.
It does. It's interesting how I guess I thought I was wrapping it up, but I just remembered. My brain is doing more things that I noticed it only doing during Street Fighter. I'm like, would heat be a good idea to use here? How much gray does he have? How much how much HP do I have? How much gray do I have? Those are calculations I've never had to make before playing Tekken, really. You know?
Yeah.
So, as a fighting game package, I feel like they've crossed a little mental bridge there that's actually I'm enjoying. It's different, and I used to play like card games and stuff like that, so that type of thinking is easily in alignment with the stuff I like to think about. So that's a fun little
game player
shift as well. Yeah
that makes sense.
That's why Tekken 7 was my game, bro.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, now the heat management in combination with the extra health. We were talking about that after my sets with CVM. We were like, a little post match digest of the sweats be doing. We were talking about why he doesn't do was it back? What he was playing? He played Clive and he did the back two. Mm-hmm. And instead of going for the heat engage move, he went for the 2-2. I think it was the Phoenix 2-2.
The meter gain one, not the engage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and he said it's one because he likes meter, and two because early heat engage in this version of the game isn't super good.
Yeah.
Right. Same reason he does like down forward 1-4 after counter hit Gen 4.
Instead of the 1+2.
Yeah, so now it's actually, and I find myself doing that now with Hwoarang while sending fork, right? Like, do I want that? Do I want to heat engage right now? While sending 3, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know numbers. I'm a better player. So, I have the choice between heat engage and like damage, and before I just would always heat engage, but now I'm kind of thinking about, do I want the damage or not? And it's more fun. There's a lot of aspects of the game that's just more fun now, I think.
Sweet. That puts me in a better mood to log on again and get my ass beat. That's it. It's nice having a little, I think, like lock-in point, because, especially people like me, like the climate of other people playing the game can affect how enjoyable it is. So having things to focus on, like, I can manage my HP here. I have other ways to improve my skills outside of just like, reacting faster, defending better, things like that.
Right.
I think that could be enjoyable. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
That's interesting. I made that tweet saying I was having fun playing Tekken 8 again, and people were like, "Oh, let's go!" And I'm like, "What does this mean?"
Yeah.
Like, why? I was like, "Why do you guys care so much when I'm having fun?"
Yeah. It goes both ways. It's like I will say like I'm not having fun right now, and they're like you're ruining my fun, and I was like my bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I've always opened videos with like, hey, if you enjoy the game, don't take what I say too seriously, because you should still enjoy. Oh, you switched to Steve? I gotta watch the rest of this VOD later.
So I realized that it's just like in Tekken 7, when I switched to Steve, I de-rest better. So I switched to Steve, started doing better, and then I switched back to Hwoarang and I played Hwoarang way better.
Why do you think that is?
Something about I don't know, bro. So I just lock it. Steve is cool to me. I guess it's like a mental thing. Also, when I'm playing Steve, I get to think more about the kind of the timing and flow of a Tekken match. But when I'm playing Hwoarang, I just have to experience the timing and flow is different. Right? Like with Steve, I can control it. I get to like guide the flow. But with Hwoarang, I'm just like in the fucking stream. It just takes me wherever it goes.
Steve uses a little tough. Bird's eye view, a little more cerebral. Hwoarang, you gotta jump in and dive in and fight for your life.
Yeah, exactly.
I played
really hard character.
I played a very little bits of Hwoarang recently, and I've been having fun in how I immediately feel the punishment for allowing myself to dwell on anything. Like I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Let me try it again, and then it's a stupid idea because you're trying it again when they're like, they just saw it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you gotta keep it moving. If you ever watch Edge play, that's like the crazy part about him. He's like in the moment, every moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm having fun experimenting with him for that reason. I don't know if it'll be effective long term with the way I play my characters, but it's definitely a fun like field trip. I'm like, this is a completely different way of existing. Even early, like right, just like in blue ranks, it's so different.
Yeah, I didn't realize how hard that character was until I tried teaching that character. And then I'm like, wait, there's a lot of stuff here you gotta learn how to do.
And it's funny too, because the Hwoarang haters, like those on the receiving end, feel like he's so brain dead. And I think in some ways he can be, especially early on when people don't know how to like counter him. But there's definitely still that initial learning mountain, right? Like I don't think he's a very pick up and play, even with the ways they've kind of simplified him, giving him that right flamingo 4-3 and things like that.
Yeah, I just played Desezi in a mirror match with a Hwoarang player.
Yeah.
And there was points of the game where I was like, bro, I can see where you're just like turning your brain off and hoping that I'm gonna die to Hwoarang stuff, and I'm not dying to Hwoarang stuff. He would just get messed up because it would always come toward like the clutch moments of the match. He would just like keep doing the like Hwoarang stuff, and I think a lot of people are used to playing at the level like that's kind of their idea of the character,
right?
Like even the Hwoarang players themselves, right? Like the Hwoarang players, they get used to thinking about the character in that way. The people who fight him are like, this is what the character is. He's brain dead. But then you play like high level where people like know the character, and it just is a really high demand kind of thing.
Especially Koreans, right? Like fighting CBM, I think you fought John Ding also, right? Mm-hmm. Did you notice that was super apparent, especially there?
Yes and no. I think high-level American players are also really good against Hwoarang. The thing is, they all have, every player, even the Korean players, they have different ways of defending against certain things, right? So in certain instances, one player will backdash, and in certain instances, another player will sidestep, right? In some places, another player will challenge and have. It's not like these aren't bad options; they're just different options, right? When I fight the Korean players, I find myself doing a lot more things that I would see Edge doing, because those things are built to counter the default like Korean defense of the character.
The quirks of his gameplay were emergent based on the defense he was running into.
Yeah, exactly. And let me not ramble too hard here.
No, this is what we're here for, man.
And then it makes a lot of sense when you like watch K-Wiz play in Europe, right? And his Hwoarang is doing all this stuff, right? And we all kind of run into it when we go to different regions and play the character. Like when like Edge came over here and lost to Joey Fury, right? And that's because Joey Fury's defense is different than what he was used to.
Right.
And same thing when I go to Europe and I play Hwoarang there. It's so weird where they challenge and where they don't move in situations where I expect people to move. So it gets confusing, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing fighting Korean. They have a different type of defense, and it's not inherently better. If that makes sense.
Right. Stylistic and because it's like an RPS, right? In multiple ways. So
Yeah.
you be peacekeeping in Europe?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, you gotta keep, bro. I turned the K-West a little bit, but it's hard. I can't play like that. I can adapt to an Edge style of gameplay faster than I can adapt to a K-West style of gameplay. I can't. I don't know. He gets it done. Oh. That's why when I went to Europe, my Steam name was K-West Dream Tree. Like, I was trying to get that, man.
That's sweet. Well, I think that's all I got. We got what, 10 minutes? How about 3 chat questions? 3 chat questions. Make a good chat.
Yeah, Q&A.
Yeah, see, they didn't expect this. They thought I was ignoring them the whole time, and I was. But yeah, I've been having a good time playing Hwoarang for the little bit that I have. We'll see how long that lasts, but it's a good time.
As soon as you fight someone who blocks and moves, you might get a little upset.
I was fighting Billy's Fang, and he would either block and move or just run up and shoulder me, and I was getting pissed off. What are some things from season 2 you'd keep as opposed to remove? Whoa. That's a good question.
If we could revert, what are some changes you would... Wait. What changes would we keep as opposed to remove?
Yeah.
Assuming that we're talking about the initial season 2 patch?
Right. I assume season 2 initial launch, because the 200 HP has already seemed kind of beneficial to your enjoyment.
The nerf to Brian's QCF 1+2, where you can sidestep right. That's amazing. That is good stuff. I find myself playing like against Brian in the same way I used to when I was younger. You know, the older Tekkens, it would be sidestep right at a range and sidestep left up close. And now I can do that again. It's pretty dope.
Okay.
Let me think. Any big system changes?
Oh, you talked about enjoying the new sidestep buffer and sidestep from crouch.
Yeah. Okay. That's about it. That's about it, bro. That's about it. I'm telling you, it was one of the worst patches of all time, bro. They're like that. You know, there wasn't much good shit in there.
Yeah, 14 under 99 of those changes.
Yeah. Dragunov back 4-3, not launching on Heat Dash, I guess.
That's okay.
And the chip damage, they nerfed chip damage in the initial season 2 patch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I expected this to be short, but damn. Wait, so he's okay with the old 214? I thought the old 214 was annoying, but only because the rest of Jin was really annoying too.
It was already -10, right?
No, it was -9. Season 2 made it -10.
Okay. Oh, and then they further nerfed it after that.
Yeah, but the counter hit rollback.
Yeah.
Back roll.
Yeah, 214 was not what I was planning about Jin.
Yeah.
In fact, 214 without the... Yeah, it's fine. 214 is fine.
All right, what's the next one? Add speed kicks. What makes low high so hard to fight compared to the Brian Goats in NA?
What makes low high so hard to fight compared to the Brian Goats in NA? Nothing. I was fighting low high. I said it was like fighting Ty if Ty cared.
It's like fighting Ty if Ty cared.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's really all it is. I think a lot of people are doing like okay against low high right now. I don't know. It's not that crazy. I think people are used to it because they fight Ty.
That makes sense.
Ty is really good.
Ty is.
He just doesn't give a fuck.
All right, chat. You got one more question. You make it a good one. How do you train decision making? That's a big one.
That's not an answerable question.
Yeah, that's a person by person type thing, no?
Yeah, that's like how do you learn Tekken?
Yeah. Here's a better one. How would you change the install system? I like this one.
How to change the install system? Without being able to just remove it?
Because that's my take. I just want it out of here.
Yeah.
I feel more old head than I think I should, but I'm like, can we just remove it? Like,
Yeah, I would just make it part of the heat system. I don't think there needs to be a special resource that only some characters get. And it doesn't even, it's not like it makes sense on how they earn it, right? Like before, like with Claudio, like Claudio's, he would usually get it during a combo. It was like a reward for like getting his combo.
right.
Otherwise hitting those starburst moves weren't like super easy.
Right.
And even still, it wasn't super interactive. Like it wasn't an interactive concept. He just held onto the starburst until he used it.
Right.
Right. So I think overall, it wasn't that great of a concept in the first place. But the way it is now, we activate heat and just get it.
Yeah.
So you activate heat and you get it, and then you use it multiple times, and then you get it after.
Yeah, one left in the chamber, yeah.
And now, in my mind, that's okay.
Oh,
because
okay.
in my mind, right, the install moves were not heat moves, right? Like the heat moves, they were all like overbearing, like offense, like plus 12 on block kind of deal, right? And the install moves were just like install moves,
right?
They were you'd use them to make a read. If they didn't hit, you'd probably lose your turn. It either like enhance your damage or your reward and somehow, and that was about it, right?
Right.
They usually end your turn. But now a lot of the install moves are so good. They at some point they realized that was a problem. They're like, no, this character isn't that good in heat, right? We want to make this character's heat feel more impactful. So they buffed the install moves. They buffed their installs in season 2. And so now the install moves are at the power level of heat moves, except you can use them outside of heat.
Right. And they're no longer subject to the timer-based restriction of the heat state. So
I think there should be like a universe if the installs are going to continue to exist in the game and not just be heat, be merged into heat.
Yeah.
I think there should be a standard where the characters who have those installs, those moves should be weaker than heat moves. They shouldn't be like brain dead like offense moves. You know, Brian's 2-1 forward 2-1-2 is -2 on block. Did you know that?
No.
With the super delayable fourth hit. So yeah, you can forward 2-1-2 is -2. I didn't realize that. They also buffed the damage on his Snake Eyes forward for 1+2, and then also he has Snake Eyes back 1+2 in the low now, right? So you can forward 2-1-2 and then sidestep after. And you can forward 2-1-2 and like 1-2-4 after.
Bro, that move always made me. I treated it like Asuka's Rage Art. I'm like, you got it, bro. We'll next play. What about characters like Eddie, Lydia, Hay, and Clive, where there are just levels to it, and their gimmick isn't just enhancement with the install? That's true. Yeah, like not the buffed moves, but the buffed characters, right? Or like the Heat 2.0 that some characters are getting.
Yeah, I mean those moves. Again, they're still weaker than heat moves, right?
Yeah. They're
not like something you just turn your brain off and hit the button on, right? Like you can with like the Brian Snake Eyes moves right now.
Right.
Or like you can with other heat moves. So even though those are annoying to like have to keep track of, in my mind they're not like the insult moves. They're not like Asuka. They're not like Brian.
Oh,
they're not like Claudia with the flick of the wrist, you know?
I like that. I think your take is way more neural flexible than mine. I was just like, I don't want to deal with this buff thing in my Tekken. What is this? But it makes sense. It depends on the power level. It depends on, like the fact that it's available outside of the timer restricted state should be accounted for in how powerful it is.
Yeah. Usually when I'm trying to like when I'm thinking about like takes on the game, I'm trying to think about it in a way where I'm not designing the game for myself, right? Yeah. I'm like designing the game for like the vision that they have for the game, right? Like
you're meeting them where they're at, or in the middle.
Because if we were being 100% honest, right, I would want heat gone.
Yeah.
Okay? But that's not gonna happen. It's a game with heat. So the question is, what do we do with heat, right? If we're being 1,000% honest, I want installs going.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna happen. So how do we make these things make sense in Tekken?
Right. No, that makes sense. I feel that. That's how I've been talking about heat. Is when people are like, we should delete it. I'm like, well, yeah, but like. Okay. So yeah, cool. All right, good job, chat. You had 3 good questions. That is a That is a record broken. Thanks to having Speed on the stream. Appreciate the time, bro. Appreciate you being willing to be content farmed for this hour. And you'll be paid handsomely.
Oh, sweet. Sweet, let's go.
All right. Thanks, bro. I'll catch you later.
All right, later, man.
Peace. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Been a while since we've had a good conversation about Tekken, but I thought it was a great window because he said he's having fun with Tekken 8 again, which I think was nice to dig into. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want some more, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Catch you in the next one. Peace.